different products for different reasons. This is Kerdi, and Kerdi is nothing more, if you don't know the Schluter Kerdi product, it's nothing more than a fabric with a mesh on the back of it. And it comes in, I think, 38-inch widths. And because it's 38, and sometimes I have more than 38, I do an overlap. So this is a tool in the same light as tools are tools, right? Tools are tools. This is a tool. Material are tools, okay? So what I mean by that, there are certain applications I've done in the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 years that almost begets using Kerdi as a shower pan liner. The last one I did was in Florida. It was upstairs in the 19th story, and I had metal studs, which were really difficult to work with. So because of screwing into them, because of getting your fingers cut, etc., etc. So the only way to get a pan liner in there, some type of pan liner, that I found the only way was to use Kerdi. And so for that reason, it became a tool in my toolbox to use when it called for it. And what I did with that is in between where you have the scabbing with 2x6, instead I used, I think it was 1/2 inch plywood, and I used it 6 inches, 8 inches, whatever it was, and I was able to glue it in on the sides. And once that dried, I was able to use Kerdi. And the same thing I did here is I needed a contiguous surface in order to put my thin set on, right? So my thin set becomes my glue. And so once I had that in there, I was able to get some runny thin set and take a 6-inch blade and kind of, not on the floor, only on the perimeter. And so as you see, I did the same thing here, right? And so with the runny thin set, I'm able to take my 6-inch blade and push up the extra thin set off of the wood, same as I did here. And then I don't have all these bulky corners the way traditional pan liner would give you, where you have the bump out. So a couple of things here, because I did, as I said, that job for that particular reason. When I come across a cornered shower, you have a free corner over here, it becomes very problematic to get that pan liner bunched up in both of these corners and then wrap up around. There has to be a cut, a perforation of your pan liner. There's no way you cannot not do that. And then on top of that, with the surface of the curb, you're bunched up at least twofold on both the sides and sometimes right in the corner. I've seen it done different ways, and I've tried to do it different ways, and it's never an easy task. So for that reason, this became my go-to tool to use on this. I've also used it on concrete curbless showers because this is going to adhere to the concrete much better coming out of the curbless shower than pan liner ever would. So it becomes a tool in my toolbox, and for that reason I used it here. So if you can see, it all got, as I showed you over there, all the way around, it got set into thin set, including this corner. So when the corner got cut, it got cut in this, how was it? Yeah, I think it was in this direction, kind of a triangle type of thing. So I ended up with a triangular piece of wood showing. So I overlapped a piece of Kerdi and set it down there with some thin set. So the bump up is minuscule at best. Same as over in that corner, and same as over in that corner. I just tied in a little extra piece of Kerdi. But I don't trust the glue, which is thin set. I don't trust that, because you know there's a high propensity for it to leak, because all it is a cement product, and so I don't trust it. For that reason, I use Red Guard at the seams, and every seam gets some Red Guard. I think my customer went overboard with it a little bit. So every seam gets Red Guarded, so that I'm 100% certain that this is a leak-proof shower pan liner. And I'm going to treat it, and I do treat it this exact same way as I would traditional pan liner. If anybody watches my channel, they know I don't do a circular cut around the drain. I find it kind of ridiculous to make that large of a cut. So I cut an X, not quite up to the edge of the drain, and then tiny little X's for the bolts to go through into that bottom flange. Then my top locking flange goes down there same way as any other traditional pan liner, and it just gets turned around, and you can see the flaps on the inside all the way around. I just feel better about it that way. And then the barrel of my drain gets screwed down. If there's an extra flap, it just gets pushed down into the drain. And so that's really all there is to it. As I said, everything that I use, tools included, but material becomes a tool to me. And I only use Kerdi maybe, I'm going to say twice a year, maybe 3 times a year in some applications. So I don't have an issue with using things other than what they're meant for. To be fair, yes, Kerdi can be used on the top of a shower pan once the shower pan is poured, right? That you would use this and do the same application with the thin set and all that stuff on top of the mortar, right? So it's not really meant for a pan liner, but it functions in the same way, and it's waterproof, so I have no problem with it whatsoever. Now, when I pour this pan, same thing would apply. I'm going to red guard the surface, or the homeowner, because I'm not doing the rest of it. The homeowner would be red guarding the pan surface, and whatever wallboard he chooses on the walls and on the curb, he would do the same thing, red guard that surface of the wallboard. So the next step is putting the pan mortar in, and I'm just going to kind of do a little quick tip type of thing. I like my screws lined up one way or the other. So got a level here, and I marked my line with a magic marker, and all I did, where's it at? I don't know where it went now. A little scrap piece of 2x4. So I just put my magic marker up against this 2x4 and just ran it all the way around the perimeter. And that should give me my proper pitch, which the top of my drain to the top of that line, my bubble is clearly off. Is it off enough? Now if I come down slightly, that's level. That's about 1/2 inch, and I'm less than 2 feet. So that would be about right. But I can screw my drain down if I want more girth back there. Screw it down that extra couple little revolutions. And now my bubble is tilted back even more, and when I'm at level, I've got probably about 3/4 of an inch. So you can play with that. You can actually bottom out on this drain. It's still going to give you enough girth of your mortar, you know, to make it happen. But the end result is that you still have a pan that is ready and tileable without this little conundrum that people run into. So the next step is, oh, by the way, while I'm on camera, I talk about different mortar. I really like Sackcrete mortar. This is at Lowe's, so you got to go to the blue pill instead of the orange pill to pick this up. But Sackcrete sand mix, it's a topping and bedding mix. It is wonderful. I love it. I've used it probably 6 times, and I get excited. I don't know why I get excited, because it's so easy to work with. The aggregate, the sand, is much thicker than what I'm used to. So for that reason, I'll probably you'll use 3 bags, but I have 4 just in case. So for whatever it's worth, I don't know how much this helped you, but if any of this helped you, then wonderful. If it didn't, sorry to waste your time. Oh, by the way, thin set will be screeded out on the outside of this curb, all the way around. Where there's wood, there's going to be thin set. Then that thin set is going to get some red guard on top of it as well. So there you go. Hey, if you enjoyed that video and you learned something, consider being a Patreon member. $5, $10, $15 a month would help me greatly produce more videos. I make nothing from YouTube at all. If you're gonna call me for advice, please donate $50 for 30 minutes. My link to my PayPal and my Patreon account is down below. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell so you get immediate notifications as soon as I post videos. And thank you very much for your support.